Thing number 2. Well, folks, this should be interesting because, like I said, I didn't have the demo because I was going to show you a video of the demo, which is not going to work now. So that's okay. There's always tomorrow, right? But tomorrow I've got something else planned. So let me just share with you what I was going to share with you today. There you go. Alice says braless during COVID. Yeah, you're not a kidding. Marion says she's going to so use that saying one of these days. Oh my heck. Oh no, Lena, I could not dare sing that song. Okay, how many of you, I've got a few things for deal today, and so that's what I was going to show you, some really great little videos today on how this all works, because I didn't want to open one out of the package so that I could give it as many out to you as possible at a really killer deal. So what I'm going to talk about today is a product called Stamp and Stitch. We've talked about this before, okay? Stamp and Stitch. This is by Prairie Sisters. And what is so fun about these two, any of you have these yet? They are just so much fun. But we are moving these out because we've got some new product coming in. And there we go. So we have a really great deal for you on a limited number that we have. So what is Stamp and Stitch? Well, before you go, wait a minute, Kris, this is a quilting show. Exactly. This is what is so cool about Stamp and Stitch, is that you have these little stamps. Let's see. Any of you were you ever into stamping? Maybe some of you still are. And you can use them on fabric, okay? So these little stamps that peel off, okay, you just peel it down from the paper. And one of the things that we got in to go with it, a lot of people were asking for the acrylic blocks, because what you do is you stick the stamp onto the acrylic block. So you cut it out, you stick it onto the acrylic block so you see what you do with them. And then Poppie Cotton has a permanent ink stamp pad that is a special for stamping on fabrics. Okay, so this is specially formulated for stamping on fabrics. So it's not going to run, or it's not going to ruin, you know, your fabrics. It's not going to bleed at all. Okay, so basically what you do, I had a video, but what you do is you're going to stamp onto your fabric. And the really cool thing about this is that you can actually, you don't have to use embroidery floss on the whole project. So for example, let's take a look, this little one for example. This I think would make the cutest quilt label. Okay, if you're looking for a fun way and unique way to do a quilt label, you may want to consider this one. So you cut out these, you know, that's not part of it unless you want it to. You could just cut out the house by itself. And then look, you have these lines so that you can write on it. So what you do is you stamp it on, and then you use an iron to heat set it. Okay, just to heat set it. And then you'll take embroidery floss, like 2 strands of embroidery floss, and you can, you know, stitch all around. Now, if you wanted to, you wouldn't even have to stitch over Find Joy. You could just stitch the flower, you could stitch the window, you could stitch this flower over here, and then have the rest still in the black ink. Okay, this graphite ink that is especially made for stamping on fabrics. All right, so I love the idea that you could do this on fabric, but you don't have to stitch out the whole thing. Just do a few stitches here and a few stitches there. You know, mix up your colors if you want to. Now on the back, you see where they used this in a zipper bag. So it was a great little embroidered piece that you would place inside the zipper pouch or on a pillow. And let's see, what else do we have? Okay, let's look at this one for example. Again, you could stitch out maybe just the leaves or just the tops of the flowers, or just stitch this and then maybe do a little pop of color here and a little pop of color there. Yes, Brenda says hand stitching? What is this crazy talk? I know, Brenda, crazy, right? But I'll tell you, hand stitching can be a lot of fun. And so I just love all of these. They're very unique, and you can use them for pillows, or they're darling on tea towels. They're very cute as little, look how fun that would be for just a little pin cushion, you know, or just a little shelf pillow. So these are just something different. You know, when we talk about switching things up a little bit, and you know, me taking that charcuterie class, maybe you go, you know what, I'm kind of getting burned out with some quilting. I want to switch it up a little bit. So maybe I'm going to go for something like this. Now, another video I was going to show you today was the video of this. And this is doing the watercolor wishes. This is with an embroidery machine, and you would do them on top of watercolor cards. And so many of you have heard me talk about these before. This is so much fun as well. So machine embroiderers, you could do this and do that, but guess what else you could also do? Let's say you love these stamps. You could take the stamp, put it on the card, and then use the watercolor pencils to fill in, to color it, you know. So how do watercolor pencils work? Well, they're specially formulated that they run when you add water to it. So inside the tube of the watercolor pencils, you will find this little watercolor brush pen. Okay, so you color something with the pencil, and then you take the brush pen, you fill it up with water, this little vial with water, and then the lid comes off. This is like a paintbrush, and then you start painting this in the lines. And so what's really fun is you could do this with your machine embroidery designs. Stitch the machine embroidery designs directly on to the cardstock, and this is a special this is a premium watercolor paper for stitching, coloring, and blending. Okay, so you can do this and be able to stitch things out, use the watercolor pencils to color in, or you could use the stamps. All right, so especially if you don't have an embroidery machine, or maybe you do have an embroidery machine but you love the look of the stamp and you don't have a design for that, right? You could get the stamps and then do the cards, and then do the watercolor pencils on top of that with the watercolor brushes. How fun would that be? So this is one of those projects that's not only really enjoyable for you to relax, to debrief, to do something new and different, but to do with your children or your grandchildren. People have sent me pictures of the kids doing these, and it's so fun. Now, you don't have to consider yourself an artist to do this, right? Because you're just, you know, coloring in the parts that are already done in ink. All right, so you do that, add the watercolor pencils, or stitch it out if you have an embroidery machine, if you want to do it that way, and you color and you watercolor that in, and you look like an artiste. It doesn't matter. Okay, so again, especially as we talk about ways to do things that sometimes, whether they get you outside of your comfort zone, or maybe you're reminded of how much you enjoyed doing something from years ago. You know, I bet a lot of us were really into stamping and scrapbooking. We did it all, did we not? And that those things have changed a little bit over the years. Some still do them, some do them digitally, and that's okay too. But maybe this will remind us like, I really did enjoy doing that. So sorry about the videos not working today, but I had some videos on how the Stampin' Stitch worked, and I had video on the watercolors, and for some reason the video is not working today. So uh anyway, that might be something to give a try and to see what you can do. Barb says, I love to color. No kids, so books and crayons are mine. There you go. Barb, do you love the smell the smell of a freshly opened box of Crayola crayons? I do. And at the beginning of every school year, even though my kids are older and they don't even need the crayons, you better believe I buy a dozen of those boxes. Don't ask me why. I just do because there's something like this fresh new start. Please tell me I'm not the only one. Somebody please tell me that they love the smell of a fresh new Crayola box as much as I do. Heck, I'll go for the 64 crayon box with the little sharpener in the back, right? So I love that. So yeah, it's not just for kids. It is something um, that is for everyone. I love this. I love what you're saying, Nancy, and let's see. I think what you're saying is do something different. Yep, do something different. When we lose our sojo, because it can refresh the creativity. Oh, how true that is. You know what? That's so true. In fact, you're absolutely right, Nancy. And when I went to the charcuterie class this weekend that I was talking about at the beginning, I'll tell you what, it did most definitely um, recharge my batteries in a different way because it refreshed this creativity side of mine that I was like, wow, this was so fun. And I was so inspired because I actually took a step back and did something a little different, which I think is a big deal. Oh, there you go. Christine bought a 96 count of crayons yesterday. Good for you, lady. That's awesome. Yeah, who cares about the 64? Go for the 96, right? Yeah, you're right, Rebecca. She said it's because you were a teacher. This retired teacher has to shop every fall. Oh, so true. I love it all. I love the paper. I love the pencils. I love it all. Oh, Renee, that's so cute. She said, crayons remind me of Christmas. I got a box from Santa every year and I still love to smell them. Renee, I hope your family still gives you crayons in your stocking. Wouldn't that be fun? I think that is so great. So great. I love it. Oh, there you go. Tana says we melt the old crayons for art projects so we can buy new ones. My future son-in-law, he loves to take he has one of those 3D printers, and he'll take old crayons and like break them up and put them into molds, and then he makes like cute little toy crayon things for kids and stuff. It's really fun. So let's see. So yeah, again, it's one of those things that it's just um it's just fun to try something new, something different, right? So that is theme number 2. Forgive me for not having those videos working today.